When you think of a penny, yes, that tiny 1 cent coin, you probably imagine it sitting forgotten at the bottom of your drawer or rolling around in your car's cup holder. The first up, one specific penny, minted in 2001 in the United States, could be worth hundreds, thousands, or even tens of thousands of dollars. It sounds unbelievable, but in the world of numismatics, the study and collection of currency, it's these stories that make everyday pocket change a potential gold mine today. We're diving into the fascinating case of the most expensive 2001 1-cent coin. We'll explore its origin, what makes it so valuable, the types of errors and variations that drive collectors wild, and how you can tell if the penny sitting in your own pocket is a sleeper treasure. Get comfortable, because we're about to uncover the incredible journey of a coin you might have already come across. The year 2001 was like most others in terms of coin production. The U.S. Mint struck billions, yes, billions of pennies that year, both from its Philadelphia and Denver facilities. At first glance, a 2001 penny seems as mundane as any. Made mostly of zinc with a thin copper plating, it features the familiar bust of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, a design first introduced in 1909. On the reverse, we see the Lincoln Memorial. This design had been in use since 1959 and would continue until the new Lincoln bicentennial reverses appeared in 2009. By every standard, the 2001 penny was supposed to be ordinary. It had no official commemorative status, no new design elements, and no unusual minting procedures. But like with all mass production, sometimes mistakes happen. And in the world of coin collecting, mistakes can mean money, serious money. To understand why a single 2001 penny could be worth thousands, we need to take a step back and examine what makes any coin valuable. In numismatics, value is typically driven by three key factors: rarity, condition, and demand. Rarity can mean that only a few coins were ever made, or that an error coin was produced accidentally and quickly pulled from circulation. Condition refers to the state of preservation. An uncirculated coin with sharp details and a flawless surface is far more desirable than one that's worn or scratched. Finally, demand is what ties it all together. Even a rare, pristine coin won't fetch much if nobody wants it. But when collectors compete for a coin, the price can skyrocket. Error coins are a huge part of this value system. Sometimes coins are double struck, meaning they receive more than one impression from the dies. Others may have offsetter designs, clipped planchets, or even wrong metal compositions. These errors can transform an otherwise worthless coin into a collector's dream. So what kinds of errors occurred with the 2001 penny? Well, this is where things get interesting. Over the years, collectors and treasure hunters have discovered several notable errors from that year. Some of the most valuable include double dies, particularly noticeable in the lettering of "In God We Trust" or "Liberty," where the letters appear slightly shadowed or doubled due to a misalignment during the striking process. There are also off-center strikes, where the coin wasn't properly aligned in the press, leading to an uneven border or missing parts of the design. Even more exciting are the few known examples where 2001 pennies were struck on the wrong planchet. This means the coin blank intended for another denomination was accidentally used. Imagine a penny that was actually struck on a dime-sized metal blank. That's not just a mistake at the rarity, but the most jaw-dropping find. A 2001 penny struck on a foreign coin blank. These are exceedingly rare, but have turned up in circulation, and when authenticated by grading services like PeaceGS or NGC, their value can soar into the thousands. Let's talk about the headline grabber. The most expensive 2001 1-cent coin sold to date. In 2019, a collector brought a peculiar-looking penny to an auction house. It was noticeably off in color and weight. Upon inspection, it was revealed to be a 2001 D. Lincoln cent struck on a 10-cent planchet, essentially a penny struck on a dime blank. The coin was authenticated and graded by PeaceGS, who gave it a mint state 65 grade, indicating an exceptional condition at auction. Fierce bidding ensued. Error coin specialists knew how rare this type of mistake was, especially from a modern mintage like 2001. The final price? A staggering $4,800. Not bad for a coin that originally cost a single cent. And that wasn't even the only high-ticket 2001 penny. Others have fetched between $500 and $3,000 depending on the specific era and grade. So now you're probably wondering, how can I tell if I have a valuable 2001 penny? First, take a close look at the mint mark. Is it a D for Denver or a P for Philadelphia? Both mints produced errors, but some of the rarer types tend to come from the Denver Mint next. Examine the coin for doubling. You don't need expensive equipment, just a simple jeweler's loupe or magnifying glass. Look closely at the date, Liberty, and In God We Trust. Do you see any ghosting or doubling of the letters? If so, you might have a double die coin check for weight as well. A standard 2001 penny should weigh around 2.5 grams. If your coin is significantly lighter or heavier, that could indicate a wrong planchet error. You can buy a cheap digital scale online that measures to the 10th of a gram. It's a small investment that can pay off big. Lastly, examine the edges and the shape of the coin. Off-center strikes are visually obvious. If part of the design is missing or the border is uneven, that's a sign something went wrong at the mint, and collectors love that. If you think you found a valuable 2001 penny, the next step is authentication and grading. Two of the most respected coin grading companies in the U.S. are PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, and NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation. These companies will evaluate your coin, grade it on a 70-point scale, and encapsulate it in a tamper-proof holder with a detailed label. Grading does come with a cost, typically around $30 to $50 per coin, so it's best reserved for coins you're confident have real value. Once your coin is graded, you can sell it through auction houses like Heritage Auctions or on platforms like eBay, where rare coin collectors are constantly on the hunt. Some sellers even attend coin shows or join coin clubs to network with buyers. If you're selling a high-end error coin, especially a rare 2001 example, consider working with a coin dealer who specializes in errors. They'll have the connections to get your coin in front of the right buyers beyond the thrill of the hunt. Coin collecting is a fascinating hobby that connects you to history, economics, and even art. That 1-cent piece may have passed through dozens, maybe hundreds, of hands, each with its own story. Some collectors focus on completing full sets by date and mint mark, while others zero in on error coins like the 2001 penny we've discussed today. The best part: you don't need to be a millionaire to get started. All it takes is a keen eye, a bit of research, and the patience to sift through your spare change. Who knows? The next rare find might be hiding in your wall. The next up, the 2004 United States 1-cent coin that shocked collectors, dealers, and historians alike with its staggering value. This is the tale of how one humble penny became one of the most expensive modern cents in American history. Before we get into the specifics of this remarkable coin, we need to understand a bit about the history of the U.S. 1-cent coin itself. The Lincoln cent, first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln, has seen countless design and material changes over the decades. By 2004, the cent had retained Victor David Brenner's iconic image of Lincoln on the obverse, but had long evolved in its composition. Since 1982, pennies were no longer made primarily of copper, but of zinc with a thin copper coating. The reasons were economic. Copper had become too expensive. But in a twist of irony, some of the most valuable pennies since then owe their worth to mistakes, rarity, and oddities in their composition. And that's exactly where the 2004 penny enters our story in the world of coin collecting. Rarity is king, but what makes a coin rare isn't always its age. Sometimes a manufacturing error can transform an otherwise ordinary piece of currency into a priceless artifact. This is the case with the 2004 D. Lincoln cent, struck on a 2000 Sacagawea dollar planchet, an extraordinary mint error that blends two completely different coins into one hybrid. This bizarre fusion wasn't intentional. Rather, it occurred when a blank planchet mint for a golden-colored Sacagawea dollar somehow ended up in the press designated for striking pennies at the Denver Mint. The result? A 1-cent coin made of a dollar's metal. Let's pause to let that sink in. Imagine holding a coin the size, color, and weight of dollar coin, but instead of Sacagawea, you see Abraham Lincoln's face. Instead of the expected golden design, you see a copper-toned impression. To the casual observer, it might just seem like a weirdly colored coin. But to a trained collector, this is a jackpot. Only a handful of these rare errors have ever been found, and each one has been fiercely fought over in auctions and private sales. One such coin sold for over $30,000, making it one of the most expensive 1-cent pieces of modern times. So how could something like this even happen? The U.S. Mint is one of the most technologically advanced mints in the world, with systems in place to prevent exactly this kind of mix-up. However, no system is perfect. Human error, mechanical malfunctions, or even simple miscommunication between departments can allow a blank mint for one denomination to be fed into the wrong press. When a Sacagawea dollar planchet was mistakenly sent down the Lincoln cent production line, it created this rare hybrid. The coin was struck with all the dies meant for a 2004 D penny, but the metal, diameter, and weight were all wrong. That's why collectors call it a wrong planchet error, and it's a big deal in the numismatic community. What adds even more value to this coin is its condition. The example that fetched such a high price at auction was graded MS 67 by the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, which is an exceptionally high mint state. Condition plays a huge role in coin collecting, and high-grade errors are exceedingly rare because most circulation coins get damaged quickly. When you combine an already rare minting error with near-flawless preservation, you get a recipe for a six-figure payday. Collectors are willing to pay extraordinary premiums for the chance to own something so unique and pristine, but the 2004 D Sacagawea planchet error isn't the only interesting penny from that year. 2004 was a relatively stable year for cent production, but it came on the heels of years with other famous errors. For instance, the 1983 double die reverse, the 1992 close AM, and of course, the 1955 double die obverse, all errors that are now legends in the coin world. The 2004 D wrong planchet cent joins this pantheon as a modern marvel, proving that even in the age of advanced technology, the minting process can still surprise us now. You might be wondering, how can I tell if I have one of these incredibly valuable coins? First, check the color and size. If your 2004 penny is golden in tone, it's definitely worth a second look. Next, weigh the coin. Normal zinc Lincoln cents weigh 2.5 grams, while the Sacagawea dollar planchet weighs around 8.1 grams. If your penny is unusually heavy and golden, take it to a coin dealer or send it to a grading service immediately. But be warned, counterfeits do exist, and collectors must be cautious. A professional opinion is absolutely essential before you get your hopes too high. The market for rare coins has only grown in recent years, fueled by online auctions, YouTube channels, social media influencers, and digital marketplaces. What was once a niche hobby for history buffs and retirees has become a booming subculture of its own. And stories like that of the 2004 D penny are what keep the excitement alive. It reminds us that treasure might be hiding in plain sight in a coin jar, in your car's cup holder, or even in your pocket right now. But what makes these stories even more captivating is the idea of possibility. Every year, billions of coins are minted by the U.S. government, and among those, a few mysterious, valuable errors slip through the cracks. To most people, they're worthless change. To the keen-eyed collector, they're gold mines. It's the thrill of the hunt, the joy of discovery, and the potential of turning a penny into a fortune. The next up, 1 cent, minted in 2005, that has fetched jaw-dropping prices at auctions and continues to stir up excitement among numismatists and everyday collectors alike. You're going to want to stick around for the full video, because we're uncovering the backstory, the errors, the varieties, and the real-world sales behind what makes this coin so valuable. Whether you're a seasoned collector or someone just getting into the hobby, you might be shocked to discover that there's more to that copper-colored coin than meets the eye. Let's jump right in to understand why the 2005 1-cent coin is such a big deal. We first need to look at the context of the Lincoln cent series. The Lincoln cent has been in circulation since 1909, when it was introduced to commemorate Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday. Over the decades, it has gone through several design changes: the wheat reverse from 1909 to 1958, the Lincoln Memorial reverse from 1959 to 2008, and the shield reverse beginning in 2010. In 2005, we were still seeing the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. But this year, 2005 is interesting because it sits right between two major design overhauls: the 2004 Westward Journey Nickel Series and the upcoming 2009 Lincoln Bicentennial Cents. Collectors were already starting to pay more attention to coins in circulation. And that's when the anomalies began to appear. The 2005 Lincoln Cent, in theory, should be common. It was minted in the hundreds of millions. But some rare errors and variety struck in both Philadelphia and Denver turned some of these pennies into small treasures. Let's talk about value. The most expensive 2005 penny known to collectors is not made of gold, nor was it ever intended to be special. It became rare purely by accident through what's known as a mint error or variety. The most famous and valuable example is the 2005 D. Lincoln Cent with a double die obverse, commonly referred to as a DDO. In plain English, this means that the coin's design was accidentally stamped twice during production, causing a noticeable doubling of the text or features. On the 2005 D penny, this doubling is most visible on the date and the word Liberty. These aren't subtle. The doubling can be seen with the naked eye in some cases. It's a rare and dramatic variety, and collectors go wild for coins like this. One of these error coins, in pristine condition, has sold for over $3,000 at auction, and others have fetched hundreds depending on grade and visibility of the error. Before we go any further, let's talk briefly about mint marks and how they affect value. In 2005, Lincoln Cents were minted at two major facilities: Philadelphia, with no mint mark, and Denver, with a D mint mark. While both mints produce standard and error coins, the 2005 D pennies are particularly notable for some of the most valuable varieties, including the double die obverse. That said, coins from a Philadelphia mint can also carry value, especially if they have striking errors like off-center strikes, die cracks, or retained die breaks. So, if you're hunting through rolls of pennies looking for that jackpot find, don't just focus on one mint. Both are worth watching, and many of the valuable coins from either mint were found in circulation. Now, let's unpack what a double die error really is. A lot of people confuse it with machine doubling, which is far more common and much less valuable. A true double die happens during the hubbing process. That's when the coin's design is impressed into the die, which will then be used to strike thousands or millions of coins. If the hub and die become misaligned during this process and make more than one impression, the die itself gets doubled, and every coin it strikes will carry that doubling. It's a rare and costly mistake, and that's why collectors pay big money for it. On the 2005 D double die penny, the doubling is strong and evident. It's most often seen in the word Liberty, where each letter appears almost shadowed or echoed. Sometimes the date 2005 also shows clear doubling. These aren't your typical tiny misalignments. They're bold, and they make the coin a standout. When authenticated and graded by a reputable third-party grading service like PeaceGS or NGC, these coins can command thousands. But the 2005 DDDO isn't the only 2005 penny worth money. There are other error types that can also bring surprising value. Some examples include off-center strikes, where the design is shifted dramatically to one side. These errors occur when the blank planchet isn't properly centered under the die during the strike. A 2005 penny struck 10%, 20%, or even 50% off-center can fetch anywhere from $50 to several $100s, depending on the extent and visibility of the error. Another interesting variety is the broad strike, where the coin is struck without the collar that normally contains its shape. These broad-struck coins appear slightly larger and flatter, often with no defined rim. Die cracks, cuds, and even struck through errors where a piece of debris was caught between the die and the planchet during the strike can also create highly collectible 2005 pennies. These are often one-of-a-kind and can sell for premium prices if well documented. So, what are these coins really selling for in the open market? Let's talk numbers. One 2005 D double die penny in MS67 red condition, graded by PeaceGS, sold at auction for over $3,200. That's a 320,000% increase over face value. Even examples in lower grades, like MS64 or MS65, regularly bring in $200 to $800, depending on eye appeal and strike quality. Off-center and broad strike errors have sold on eBay for $100 to $500. And remember, these are coins that many people initially found in loose change or in bulk penny rolls from the bank. That's why this hobby remains so exciting. There's still treasure out there, and not just in old gold coins or 1800 silver dollars. It could be in the form of a 2005 penny sitting in a jar on your kitchen counter. The coin market as a whole has been seeing a steady rise in demand for certified error coins. As more people take up the hobby thanks, in part to viral social media posts, the appetite for dramatic mint errors has only grown. Coins that might have once sold for $50 are now going for double that, or more now. How do you know if you've got one of these valuable 2005 pennies? First, you'll need a loupe or magnifying glass, preferably 10x magnification. Check the date and the word Liberty for signs of doubling. If you suspect a double die, compare your coin to verified examples online. PCGS Photograde, Variety Vista, and Coin Community are excellent resources. If it looks promising, the next step is to send it to a third-party grader like PCGS or NGC for authentication. They'll examine the coin, confirm whether it's a true double die, and assign a grade. That grade will heavily influence its market value. Be careful, though many people mistake mechanical doubling or damage for true errors. That's why professional verification is key. For other errors like off-center strikes or CUDs, clear photos and community discussion can often help you decide whether it's worth grading. So there you have it, the story of the 2005 1-cent coin that's worth thousands. It's a fascinating reminder that even in a world of digital payments and disappearing cash, physical coins still hold secrets and value. Whether you're a diehard collector or just someone who likes a good treasure hunt, it's worth checking your change. The next up, 1-cent coin from 2007 that has sold for thousands of dollars. That's right, a penny, a coin that most people overlook or even toss aside, which in certain cases is worth more than an ounce of gold. But what makes a single penny from 2007 so valuable? How can you spot one? And what should you look out for? Get ready to explore the world of rare mint errors, collector demand, and the little details that can make all the difference. Let's uncover the mystery behind the most expensive 2007 1-cent coin in circulation in 2007. The United States Mint was still producing the familiar Lincoln cent, featuring Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, a design that had been in place since 1959. This was just 2 years before the release of the Lincoln Bicentennial Cents in 2009, so the 2007 penny wasn't expected to be anything extraordinary. Over 7 billion Lincoln cents were minted that year, a staggering number, making it seem impossible that any single one could be valuable. Most were minted at either the Philadelphia or Denver Mint, and as with most modern coins, they were composed of 97.5% zinc with a thin copper plating, not particularly valuable in terms of metal content. So, with such a high mintage and no rare metal content, how did some of these coins come to be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars? The answer lies in mint errors. While the U.S. Mint has strict quality control processes, occasional mistakes do slip through, and these anomalies are what collectors go crazy for. One of the most talked about 2007 penny errors is the double die error, particularly on the obverse side. In some rare examples, you can see doubling in the letters "In God We Trust" or "Liberty," and sometimes even in the date 2007 itself. These errors occur during the striking process when the coin die impresses the design onto the blank coin more than once, slightly off alignment. This creates a visible doubling effect that's easy to spot if you know what you're looking for. Collectors refer to these as double die obverse, or DDO. Coins with strong, clearly visible doubling can fetch hundreds or even thousands depending on their condition and how dramatic the error is. Another notable variety is the off-center strike. Imagine a coin where the design is shifted far to one side, leaving a crescent of blank metal on the other. These can be incredibly valuable, especially if a significant portion of the design is still visible, particularly the date and mint mark. The more off-center it is without obscuring key features, the higher the value tends to be. There have been 2007 pennies with 50% off-center strikes that have sold for hundreds of dollars at auction. Then there are coins that were struck on the wrong planchet, for example, a 2007 cent struck on a dime or foreign coin blank. These wrong planchet errors are especially rare and are usually identified by weight, color, or odd diameter. A few such coins from 2007 have fetched well over $1,000 in auctions. Let's talk numbers. One of the most expensive 2007 1-cent coins ever sold was a dramatic double-die obverse penny, certified by PCGS as MS67 red. In 2021, this coin sold for over $2,000 at auction, yes, for a single penny. What made this one stand out wasn't just the doubling, but also the pristine condition. Graded coins are evaluated on a scale from 1 to 70, and anything above 65 is considered premium. The coin had bright red luster, no signs of wear, and the doubling was clearly visible under magnification. It was a textbook example of a modern rarity. Another high-value example was a 2007 penny struck on a 10-cent planchet, essentially a penny that looks and feels like a dime. These error coins are incredibly rare and often escape the mint's quality control unnoticed. One such coin sold for $1,500 at auction, due to its striking anomaly and collectability. Then there are coins with multiple striking errors, double struck, off-center, or even with partial collar strikes. These hybrid errors are so rare that when they appear, collectors are willing to pay big money for them, especially if authenticated by major grading services like PCGS or NGC. So how can you tell if your 2007 penny is one of the rare ones? First, you want to carefully inspect the coin under magnification, ideally using a 10x loupe or microscope. Look for doubling in the inscriptions, especially "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date. If the letters appear slightly overlapping or shadowed, you may have a double die. Also, pay attention to any irregularities in the shape or placement of the design elements. Off-center strikes are easy to spot with the naked eye. If the coin seems lighter than usual or looks silver instead of coppery, it could be struck on the wrong planchet, a huge red flag for potential value. Weighing your coin is another great way to detect a possible planchet error. A regular 2007 penny should weigh around 2.5 grams. If it weighs significantly less or more, say 2.3 grams or 2.7 grams, that could be a sign it was struck on the wrong metal blank. Finally, don't forget about condition. A coin in mint state, with no signs of wear, sharp details, and strong luster, will always be worth more than a worn one, even if they share the same error. Consider sending potentially valuable coins to a professional grading service to get them authenticated and encapsulated. This can significantly increase their resale value. What makes these error coins so desirable? In a world where billions of coins are produced every year with machine-like precision, a mistake becomes a curiosity, a piece of history where something went off script. Error coins offer a glimpse into the behind-the-scenes processes of the U.S. Mint, and for many collectors, they represent the thrill of the hunt. The idea that a simple penny, worth only 1 cent in face value, could be hiding in plain sight in your change drawer, your piggy bank, or the coin return at the grocery store, it's an irresistible concept. Add to that the potential for a huge return on investment, and you can understand why coin hunting has become a popular hobby for people of all ages. There's also the educational aspect. Understanding errors means understanding how coins are made, from blanking and annealing to striking and edge lettering. It brings you into contact with metallurgy, history, and even economics. Every rare 2007 penny has its own story, whether it's a fluke in the die-making process or a misfeed in the coin press. And for collectors, owning one of these pieces means owning a unique artifact, something that, by its very nature, shouldn't exist. So the next time you get a penny in your change, especially one from 2007, don't just toss it aside. Take a closer look. You could be holding a miniature fortune in your hand. Whether it's a double die, an off-center strike, or a wrong planchet, rare coins continue to surprise and excite collectors around the world. And remember, not all valuable coins are old. Some are hiding in your wallet right now. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of valuable pennies, hit that like button and subscribe for more stories from the hidden side of American currency. In upcoming videos, we'll be looking at other modern coins worth big money and how you can start your own coin hunting journey. Until next time, keep your eyes open, your magnifying glass handy, and your change jar full. You never know what treasure you might find.